Anyway, we're going to talk about the new trans panic happening inside of Congress.
Sarah McBride doesn't get a say. I mean, this is a biological man. He does not belong in women's spaces, women's bathrooms, locker rooms, changing rooms, period, full stop.
Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace introducing a resolution to ban transgender women from using the women's restrooms at the U.S. Capitol. The move comes just weeks after the first transgender person was elected to Congress. Democratic Congresswoman-elect Sarah McBride will be sworn in January. She responded in a post on social media. She writes this, quote, "This is a blatant attempt from far right-wing extremists to distract from the fact that they have no real solutions to what Americans are facing. We should be focused on bringing down the cost of housing, health care, and childcare, not manufacturing culture wars. Delawareans sent me here to make the American dream more affordable and accessible, and that's what I'm focused on."
Marjorie Taylor Greene has asked how she will check who is qualified to use the restroom.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace has a new resolution that would ban transgender women from using the women's bathroom at the Capitol. Is that something that you would support, or like what are your? It's a brand new resolution. It was just introduced in the last hour or two.
Oh, gotcha.
AIPAC stooge Sarah McBride with the same opinions on Israel as Donald Trump. Yeah, I don't give a shit, dude. What the Yeah, that's monstrous. That's unimaginably cruel. That still doesn't mean that she should be victim to transphobic harassment. Yeah, we're gonna combat the anti-Palestinian sentiment coming from the trans congressperson by being transphobic.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace has a new resolution that would ban transgender women from using the women's bathroom at the Capitol. Is that something that you would support, or like what are your? It's a brand new resolution. It was just introduced in the last hour or two.
Oh, gotcha. I support a resolution that keeps all biological men out of women's bathrooms, locker rooms, and private places, not only here in the Capitol complex, our office buildings, but all taxpayer-funded facilities.
How does one, I guess the logistics question would be, how does one check, like, if someone is qualified to use the ladies' room then in that case? Obviously, there's a new openly transgender member of Congress, but
right, which
more
is
generally.
Man. He's a man. He's a biological male, so he is not allowed to use our women's restrooms, our women's gym, our locker rooms, and our...
How can you legally dress like this and be in Congress? Okay, first of all, it's very impressive that ever since the incident, Marjorie Titan Greene has been able to dress herself. Sometimes it doesn't look good, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be celebrating this impressive accomplishment. Good job, Marjorie. You're doing a great job. And we are proud of you. We are proud of you, Marjorie. Don't listen to the naysayers. Baby steps. She's putting that shit on. Okay, I wouldn't go that far. Calm down.
Spaces that are specified for women. He's a biological male. He has plenty of places he can go.
Okay, and should they make like gender neutral bathrooms? I guess like logistically, what happens if they have to go to the bathroom?
In the men's room, and he has a bathroom in his office, just like all of us do. And that's where I use the restroom most of the time in my office. If he has a bathroom that'll be designated for him. But men need to respect our spaces. And that's what this election was all about. This was a mandate from the American people that are not only fed up with the open borders, they're fed up with inflation, they're fed up with the economy, but they're fed up with the left shoving their sick trans ideology down our throats and invading our spaces in our women's sports. So sorry for the uncomfortable question, but I'm giving you the direct answer. The American people spoke at the election. They're sick of this shit. And so the new member of Congress that was voted into Congress on behalf of his district in Delaware needs to respect my space, my privacy, and other women's space and privacy, because he is not a woman. So that's my answer.
My theory that the biggest transphobes also do not fit the traditional gender binary standards themselves still holds. I mean, for Marjorie, it's a little unique because she doesn't even fit the standard of a human being, really. More so just like a Titan from Attack on Titan. But it's always these demonic weirdos who are like, that's a man. How can you tell? We can always tell. It's like, what do you mean we can always tell? You're about to get trans panic defensed. Why are you uplifting a standard that you don't abide by? It makes no sense. And then here is my favorite swinger in Congress, Nancy Mace.
The locker room should not be in changing rooms.
Nancy Mace, our bisexual congressperson, who authored the bill. She is a bisexual swinger, for those of you who do not know.
Should not be in our restrooms either, and I'm going to be standing in the brink, standing in his or her way, putting a stop to this insanity and this nonsense. She doesn't get a say. This is about real women and women's rights, and the far left, radical left, they want to erase women and women's rights, and I'm not going to let them.
Would you want Sarah McBride then to use the men's restroom outside of the two?
She was born a biological male. She should use the men's restroom. That's how it should work.
What sports are they doing in the women's bathroom? Olympic shitting and farting. Wait, they split? Oh my God. Oh my God, they split. Remember when she went in front of church and was like, my husband is laying thick pipe at the prayer breakfast? Like, what the did you just say?
7. I was getting picked up at 7:45. Patrick, my fiance, tried to pull me by my waist over this morning in bed, and I was like, no, baby, we don't got time for that this morning. I got to get to the prayer breakfast, and I got to be on time, and a little TMI, but he can wait. I'll see him later tonight.
Like, that's crazy. Anyway, let's see what the ABC reporter had to say about this new transphobic bill.
Congresswoman Mace, can I ask you a question as you walk here? So the question is, with your piece of legislation about banning women from using...
100% yes.
My question to you is...
And it doesn't go far enough. I'll be filing more bills.
It doesn't go far enough? What's the next step?
Have said that it was created in response to Congresswoman-elect McBride.
100%. And
should legislation be created?
She looks like a different person because I don't know what it is. Maybe she's got like hella sharp angles or something. Or maybe she's just like a shapeshifter. She looks like an entirely different person in like pretty much every angle. It's crazy.
Targeted at one specific person?
It doesn't mention anyone in the legislation, but
you've said it was aimed at her.
No, I have said it's a result of this. I'm not going to allow biological men into women's private spaces. I will stand in the brink and stand in the way of anyone on the radical left who thinks that it's okay for a penis to be in a women's locker room or a bathroom or a changing room. Hell no.
She's like, penis is only inside of me, please. Yeah, that's it. I was sent a link to a longer version of Nancy Mace playing the drinking game, spitting into someone's mouth. Her spit is passed around like 4 times before being thrown up by some guy. I love this because like that's not her. Obviously, she's the first person here. For those of you who don't know, because you're going to be like, what? Nancy Mace? Which one is she? Because her face is so different all the time. Here's Nancy Mace taking a shot. And then making out and spitting the shot into the coolest lesbian I've ever encountered. Dude, she literally has the Ziz cut. How is that possible? I didn't know you could have butch power like this. She got the same haircut as Ziz, dude. She's about to throw up the Z pose. Bro, I'm telling you, conservatives are freaks, dog. They do the craziest shit all the time. That's why all those Moms of Liberty ladies get like busted doing swinger parties and shit all the goddamn time. Anyway.
I'm not going to stand for it, and the speaker said it would be in the House rules package. If it's not, I'll be ready with a motion, a privileged motion, to force a vote on this. This is not okay. I'm a survivor of rape. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse, and I'm not going to allow any man in any female private spaces.
Now, Speaker.
End of story. And by the way, I'm getting death threats from men pretending to be women. Why is it that these crazy people, the insanity, the radical left, are willing to kill women over a man's right to be in a women's restroom?
Speaker Johnson has said he wants to treat every new member with the words dignity and respect. Forcing this congressperson to go into a male restroom, is that dignity and respect?
Forcing women to share.
They're going to transvestigate Nancy Mace? Yes, of course they are. Again, there is no end to the transvestigation concept. If you're transphobic and you lean into the transphobia narratives, you will inevitably become a transvestigator. It is the final state of transphobia. Oh, that's awesome. They already are doing it. God, the people obsessed with this stuff are so off the deep end. This is how ridiculous Gunther is. Here's part of proof that Michelle is a man and also Nancy Mace. Honestly, I believe Nancy Mace is/was a man. Anyone can get breast implants and grow their hair long to look like a woman. She is visually not a real woman. At you. GOP, at House GOP, at Senate GOP, at SCOTUS blog, at U.S. Supreme Court, at Trump Truth Post, at Governor Ron DeSantis, at Ron DeSantis, at Nancy Mace, at FBI, at CIA, at ATF. I personally think Nancy Mace is a man. She looks manly and she's full of about FEMA. She should ask Trump about FEMA, how he stole the money from FEMA and for the military. Nancy Mace is a man. No idea why people think he's hot. I'm convinced Nancy Mace is a man. Nancy Mace is secretly a man. Breaking. Representative Nancy Mace introduces measure to ban men from women's bathrooms on Capitol Hill. Sarah McBride, who is the first trans member of Congress, blasted the attempt as far-right extremism. Dumb question, but which is which? I honestly don't know. Which one is the real woman? They both look like men. Chaya had to tag which of them was Nancy Mace in case her drooling fans started harassing the wrong woman for being trans. Yup.
And it's very much unclear at this hour what Mike Johnson plans to do, although Nancy Mace is under the impression that her resolution or something of the like will now go into the new House of Representatives rules package, which would theoretically be voted on and approved by the next Congress come January.
And just trying to look back at Trump's ads as he was running for president.
Damn, it almost feels like the trans women in sports was, just a way to feed into the transphobia, trans panic narratives and the hysteria exhibited by many Americans. And addressing this as though it's a serious concern that people have was just silly. And that we should have just brushed aside these conversations by immediately being like, why the do you care about this? You're a goddamn weirdo. Your pathological obsession with trans people is obsessive, and I do not care to have this discussion with you. Perhaps that could have been a much more successful way to deal with this subject matter. But no, what the do I know, you know?
This bill, clearly Nancy Mace is going to get some attention for doing this. When you look at this back and forth, how do you see this cutting?
Well, first, I think it's important to unpack why that ad was one that Republicans ran so often and ultimately felt was a successful ad in the campaign. And I think it comes down to the very end of the ad, where it sets up this dynamic of Democrats are for this small group that you're not a part of. Donald Trump's for you.
Let's watch the piece of the ad that you were just kind of running through that sets up this debate, or did, for the presidential election. Watch.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender.
Dude, why? I can't believe they're just like playing this again and again and again. I feel like they want it to be a successful ad because it corresponds to their own personal biases, right? It's just so stupid. Why are they not talking of trans males? They don't care about that. They just denied the existence of trans men to begin with.
Inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
They kept saying it was effective, but it was only effective in places where House members weren't counter-messaging. Sherrod Brown and Tammy Baldwin did anti-trans ads, the counter-message ads, saying they were radically pro-trans. It's not radical. It's not radical to be this way. I mean, Andy Bashar is the perfect counter to this in a plus 35 red state, and he is pro-trans unconditionally. He's vetoed anti-trans bills over and over again. He does not give a shit. He's uncompromising on it, and he has a fantastic answer to this, where he's like, "Nope, those are God's children. Those are our neighbors. Those are my constituents. I will always welcome them into the state capitol, and I will always take photos with them. I don't give a fuck you. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should apologize for singling out these people." How the fuck does he get away with it? It almost feels like if you just stand 10 toes down and say, no, y'all are being fucking weird. Those are just like normal ass people. But anyway, that's the anti-trans bill. And it feels like they're using that as another opportunity to be super transphobic. And it almost feels like there's nothing going on. It almost feels like this has nothing to do with fairness in sports at all. Oh my God, I'm shocked. And everything to do with just being transphobic. Oh my God, I'm shocked.
Sarah McBride, a man or a woman?
Look, I'm not going to get into this. We welcome all new members with open arms who are duly elected representatives of the people. I believe it's a command that we treat all persons with dignity and respect, and we will. And I'm not going to engage in silly debates about this. There's a concern about the uses of restroom facilities and locker rooms and all that. This is an issue that Congress has never had to address before, and we're going to do that in deliberate fashion with member consensus on it, and we will accommodate the needs of every single person. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yes,
do you plan on bringing Nancy Mace's transgender bill and putting that into the rules package?
I'm not going to address the plans on any of that. I just told you what I'm going to say about the issue. I'm not going to engage in this. We don't look down upon anyone. We treat everybody with dignity and respect. That's a principle that I pursued my whole life, and we will take care of this, issue of first impression for Congress, as we will any other thing. We'll provide appropriate accommodation for every member of Congress.
The MAGA backlash came in hot, and Mike Johnson had to clarify his statements.
Hello, everybody. I just want to make a statement for all of you here and be very clear. I was asked a question this morning at the leadership gaggle, and I rejected the premise because the answer is so obvious. For anybody who doesn't know my well-established record on this issue, let me...
He's like, I have a long-standing record of being transphobic. I, Michael Penis, have always been transphobic. I just didn't even think that you guys would bring it up to me. This is utterly ridiculous. So let me make it clear.
Be unequivocally clear. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman. And a man cannot become a woman. That said, I also believe, that's what Scripture teaches, what I just said, but I also believe that we treat everybody with dignity. And so we can do and believe all those things at the same time. And I wanted to make that clear for everybody because there's lots of questions. But that's where I stand. I've stood there my whole life, and those are facts.
Thank God he clarified. I was really worried that he wasn't sufficiently bigoted. Oh my God, what a ridiculous conversation. I do think that this is going to have some kind of backlash, by the way. I think that people will most likely respond to this. I think that people will probably not respond positively to this because they hate Congress. They hate gridlock. Americans hate gridlock so consistently.